So gamers, I want to talk about something, right? I think that a lot of us know the basic terminology of fighting games and can easily explain the basic terms of fighting games, right? All that shit that like it's been around for a long time, right? Nothing super weird. The normal shit like neutral, whiff punishes, punish, maybe even tick throw, right? I think tick throw is pretty easy to explain. Footsies, shimmy, right? You think shimmy, you think like moving, creaking along, right? It's kind of the same thing. Footsies, it's a little more awkward to explain, but it's not hard to explain, right? I think that the harder terms to explain are the ones that are super like, what's what I'm looking for? They're super unique in what they mean, or they're like slang, right? And I have a few in mind that I really want to talk about today. 10 of them. Yeah, YouTube were doing a top 10 list. They were doing a top 10 list of the weirdest fighting game terms that you need to know, that you probably already know. And if you don't know, you're about to find out. So here's where we open up our handy dandy notepad. Bada bing, bada boom. Nice. Wasn't sure if that was gonna open or not. I'll be quite honest. I spent like 10 minutes trying to set that shit up. So we're handy dandy notepad over here. You guys can see the trustiest thing on my talk segment. It's the notepad. And on the notepad, we're gonna talk about 10 terms. Starting with, we're gonna talk about the term cheap. Talk about the term cheap. That's a term that's been around for a really long time. It's probably the oldest of the terms on this list. Cheap. Cheap means easy to use and highly effective, right? In the world of normal things, you don't think of cheap as easy to use and highly effective. You think of cheap as like bad or shoddily made, rushed. You know, you say, oh, that was a cheap movie, or that was like a low budget movie. That's what you think of when you think cheap, right? But in fighting games, it kind of means the opposite. It's something that's easy to use or easy to reproduce, to manufacture, right? There's cheap tech that's easy to understand and manufacture, right? So like OCVing someone back in the old school days, right? Which is like sweep fireball, right? That's it. Jump kick, sweep fireball. Right? Super easy, but at a low level, extremely cheap. Cheap is probably the oldest term on this list. I have a list of like 10 terms. That's number one. I guess we'll go in reverse order. That's number one. Number two, we'll go with, you guys know what whiff is, right? So let's say we know what whiff. Whiff means to miss an attack. Okay. So if we're borrowing loosely from combat sports, a whiff punish is a cross counter. A cross counter is where you make a move, you cross up a move, and then you counter them for it, right? You hit them, you retaliate, right? So we're gonna talk about being plus on whiff. And this is a silly one, right? Because you think plus on whiff, that's impossible. Like if someone whiffs a button, they have minus frame, right? Even if it's like not very many, they're still minus, right? So the way that plus on whiff works, it's a really easy concept to explain. Plus on whiff means let's go ahead and let's make it a little simpler. I don't know if I spelled ambiguous right. Hard/risky to punish, almost ambiguous, right? So what I mean by that is there are moves that have so little recovery. Sometimes they're 0 on whiff, sometimes they're -2 on whiff, -1 on whiff. You know, there's no true like real plus on whiff. But what it means is that to go for your mix-up, to go for what you want to do after your opponent whiffs a button, it's hard for you. It's risky for you. It's something that for the most part will probably get you into some type of trouble frames-wise or advantage-wise, right? That's what plus on whiff means. It's a weird one because it's slang. Like there's no such thing as plus on whiff. It doesn't exist. I don't think there's a single move in fighting games ever that's actually plus on whiff. There are moves that are better on block than on hit, which is stupid. But that's totally different. Like that's a concept that you can kind of understand. But being plus on whiff is like you tell someone, they're like, oh dude, bro, that's plus on whiff. Why'd you try to challenge there? And they're like it's his turn. And they're just like, well, yeah, it's his turn. But they don't truly mean it's his turn. They mean, hey, if you go for some shit right there, you're probably gonna get blown the hell up. Easy, right? Number 3, blender. This one's really simple to explain. A blender is constant mix-ups slash mix, kind of, you know, what a blender does. A blender mixes things. It blends things, right? So to put your opponent in the blender means to mix them up, to make them have to guess a lot, right? Heavy guesswork, right? So in the sense of a game that's, I guess, relatively recent, characters like Leroy in Tekken 7, he has an amazing blender game. He has an amazing mix-up game on a lot of his stuff because it's small strings that leave the opponent standing with high plus frames on hit for Leroy. So if he continues to rinse them at you, use them at you constantly over and over and over, what it is it becomes a blender. It becomes heavy guesswork for the opponent, and you just sit there and you do a mid or you do a low and you just laugh right at the bank, right? In an older game, we can go further back. We can go to a game like, let's go to a game like Mortal Kombat X. I reference Mortal Kombat X a lot because it's a fighting game I really, really love. But Mortal Kombat X, there's a character like Cyrax. Cyrax is all about heavy duty set play. What set play is set play for the most part is kind of blender work, right? He's got a high bomb with spark bomb. It flies in the air, and then he's got a low bomb with ground bomb, right? And there's a lot of situations where what you want to do is you want to get your opponent to have to wake up into that bomb, and you attack them with a low or an overhead as they're waking up into the bomb, making them have to guess double low, low overhead, low, try to jump out. Blendered. They're blendered. And when you reset them and put them in that situation again, that's the blender. That's what blender means, right? So that's number 3. Number 4 is, we'll stick with the B's, right? Butter. Have you ever been on commentary and heard someone say, oh, he's got 3 sticks of butter? He's got 3 sticks of butter. He's got a full stick of butter. He's not using it. They mean he has meter. They mean that there's meter for the side of the person who they're referring to, right? Meter is a pretty much universal thing in most fighting games now, except for maybe Tekken, unless you're playing one of the 2D characters. Most fighting games of the 2D variety, at least, I'm sure almost all the 2D fighters right now, or all the 2D fighters right now, I can't think of a single 2D fighter currently out on the market right now that's a newer game, 2015 or later, that does not have meter, right? Meter is usually like a comeback mechanic. It's you get a super, you get EX moves, you get enhanced moves. First, motherfuckers, say what's up, kaiju, right? Butter is meter, right? And another word that some people use for butter is cash, right? Even I did it yesterday, as a matter of fact. I did it yesterday on commentary. I was commentating, or Wednesday on commentary. I was commentating Wednesday Night Fights, and a player had an optimal combo that could have left the opponent in one mix-up situation, right? In a guess situation where all they had to do was hit them with a mid or a low, and they had to wake up into it, or they were put into a situation where they had to legitimately end the round by spending a bar of meter, right? Spending a bar of meter. When they had 2, they lose a bar of meter, but they secure the round, right? And I said, there's a saying, spin the cash, get that ass. And now it's not really a saying. If anyone else says it, that's badass. I want to hear someone else say that. That'd be sick, right? But what it means is use the meter, use the butter. Don't forget to spend it to win a round. There's nothing wrong with that, right? That's number 4. Number 5, let's go with a Smash terminology. Let's kind of bring it in real quick. This one's funny. Just the name of it's really funny. Sex kick. We'll say generic Smash slash platform fighter neutral air attack. This one's a little longer to explain. This one's a little harder to explain, and the reason why is because I actually have to pull up a picture to show you what I mean by sex, right? Have you guys ever played Smash? Any of you guys played Smash? If you have, then you've probably seen this before. See that thing Mario's doing down there? Down there? Right there? Oh, right there? See that? That kick, that nair, the neutral air, the button where he has his one leg behind, one leg in front, the leg is extended outwards further than the rest of his body, that is a nair. That is a nair, that is a sex kick. There's a bunch of examples of that in Super Smash Brothers, right? So Fox, I believe Falco in older games, in like Super Smash Brothers Melee only, I guess. the Fox, Falco, Luigi, Mario, Sheik. Those characters have sex kink. It's a weird term. I don't understand why it's like this, but it is. And that's that right there, down there, right here. That's sex kink. That is a neutral air, a generic neutral air that a lot of characters share. It's usually pretty good. Even Link has a sex kick, now that I think about it. And Link's is one of the strongest in the game in Smash Ultimate. It's pretty cool. That was, what was that, number 5? 5. And that was midway point. We're halfway through this stuff. We're halfway through the dumb fighting game terminology / slang. Some of this is slang, right? So here's another one. This one is slang. This is East Coast slang. This is invented by the one and only. The one and only Yipes. I think Yipes was probably the first person to say this, and people stole it after that. I have to capitalize this. Getting beaten extremely badly is bus ass. If you ever hear someone comment, "Oh, that was bus ass," what that means is that whatever they did was so fucked up that like the opponent really didn't have very many options. They just kind of got bodied. They got destroyed. They got poo-pooed on, right? You could say any of those things. Like we hear they got destroyed a lot. That one's pretty common. But bus ass is like, that's more of an East Coast thing because of Yipes. But you will hear it from time to time. Another one that's also started on the East Coast, but widely adopted, OD. Now, when you think of OD in like the traditional sense, it means like overdose, right? Now, you can kind of use that in the same sense for fighting games. Instead of overdosing, did I spell ridiculously? I don't know how to spell ridiculous this strong. We'll just use extremely again. I forgot how to spell ridiculous right now. Oops. I think I spelled extremely wrong too. Right? Okay, so overdoing it, like doing a combo that is way more damage than that's needed, right? A combo that, say your character, the character you're fighting against in Mortal Kombat is a 950 health character, and they have half their life left. So you only need to deal about 400 damage, right? You do a crushing blow combo that's 600 damage. Damn, bro, that was OD, right? And off a safe starter, off of something that's not going to get you punished. That was OD. It was overdoing. It was super good, extremely strong. That's kind of what OD means. That one's extremely simple, right? That's not like a hard one to explain. Pringles is another one. These last ones are all slang, I think, right? Can't think of another one that's not slang. Oh yeah, these are all slang. This one's long, and it has to be, right? Getting opened up, guessing wrong on mix-ups. Let me just put guessing wrong. Cracking defense, right? So, Pringles. Pringles are really easy to open up. Have you ever opened up a can of Pringles? You just pop the top off, you know, and then you whip that part off. And then you just get to eating. Opened up the man like a can of Pringles, right? His defense no longer exists, right? He was defending things back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then you turned him into a potato chip. You made him really easy to beat. That's what Pringles means. That's another slang term. I think Pringles is really funny. I don't hear it as often as I used to, but it is pretty funny. I think, how many do we have left? We have 2 left? What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing, we'll end with the last one. This one is this is a very common term. Have you ever heard of a kusoge? A kusoge is essentially a really Lucario player since 2010. Hell yeah, that's sick. I play Link and Diddy Kong. Those are the only characters I've really liked in Smash. I can't really think of anyone else that I would want to play. I tried Inkling in Ultimate, but I'm just not a fan of Ultimate, so I think that ruined Inkling for me. Inkling seemed really cool, but I just didn't like Ultimate. So kusoge, what kusoge is I can't really. I guess I could censor this, right? Shit game, garbage game, trash game, right? This is something that people use to describe a lot of games that are very, very small and broken, buggy, you know, niche. But we like to kind of insult them. I mean, people love kusoges. When you think about it, you can ask people, and everyone has a favorite kusoge. Personally, my favorite kusoge, it's considered a kusoge, is the Naruto Getsuku Ninja Taisen series, the Naruto Clash of Ninja series. Super duper fun games, not really that broken, but they're considered like bad games because of the way that they function. You have a sidestep button instead of actually having a traditional sidestep. The burst option costs a regular meter. You either spend it on a burst, or you spend it on a super, right? It's like a weird mix between a 2D and a 3D fighter. There's only 2 or 3 attack buttons. There's taijutsu, ninjutsu, throw, and special move. I think that's the literal names of the buttons. I think it's ABTX, ABTS. I think it's ABTS. Yeah, and like it's a fun game, but it's bad. It's one of those games that you don't see a lot in the spotlight, like a game that doesn't really see the shines of an Evo stage or anything really at a major. A game that's going to show up at Combo Breaker as a side event that everyone's going to play, but that you're not going to be able to see at a real major, right? Dive Kick, another perfect example of a kusoge, right? Dive Kick is a 2-button fighting game where it's only die, which is jump, and kick, which is your downwards attack, kick, right? And that's the only 2 things you can do in the game, minus pressing both buttons together for like a special move. And if you like double tap the kick button, or you press the kick button on the ground, you get a backdash, right? You can backdash, kick, use a special or an EX move of some kind with your kick meter, and then you can jump. That's it. It's a bad game, but it's a fun game, right? So I think the last thing we need to put here is the word fun game. Oops. Damn, I suck at typing. Not serious game. Very like you something you play for fun. Another good example of a kusoge is, I mean, Melty Blood for a while was considered a kusoge. I don't think Melty Blood is kusoge. I think Melty Blood's pretty tight, actually. As a matter of fact, I've been watching a lot of Melty Blood. Well, I was watching a lot of Melty Blood footage. I think there's new stuff that I've missed. But that's a game that because, oh, I got played in a bathroom, or oh, I got played at a Whataburger right outside of the venue, that people considered it a kusoge. Give me 1 second. My cat behind my monitor, and she not be. Okay. Bye, Remy. Yeah, you'll be all right. Something along those lines, right? A kusoge. The last thing is my favorite one. Known by many names. Known by getting peed on. Known by 7 golden letters. Right? But the name that I hear the least, that is the hardest to explain why you have anything called this. I can tell you why right here. That's why. That's literally it. Howdy, Space Cowboy. What's good, Aries? How you doing? R. Kelly, right? People call it 7 golden letters, golden shower, R. Kelly, getting peed on. People call it all those things because it starts with a P. And most of the time in most fighting games, if you get it perfect, the letters are golden or yellow of some kind, which is pretty funny. I don't think they thought that through when they did that. But it makes for a hell of a dumb fighting game term / slang. So this is like the list of the fighting game terms that I find the funniest, or that are like the most confusing to explain to newer players. The top ones are just the ones that are weird to explain. Because when I think of butter, I don't think of meter, right? I don't think any of us do. We only do because we play fighting games all the time. But the funnier thing is, still got my kid. I'm trying to get through ESL. I believe in you. You got this, brother. Hell yeah. Don't forget to spin that. Don't forget to spin that butter. All right. You need a soul charge. Spin that butter. Don't get opened up like a can of Pringles. Make sure you use that cheap shit. If you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe. I put out videos like this maybe once or twice a week. I like to talk about stuff on my streams sometimes. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you've never been to one of my streams, you should come to my streams, because a lot of the times the stuff that doesn't make it to my YouTube is in the VOD. You can watch my streams, come chat with me live, and you get to watch way more content than you would on the YouTube. I don't post as much on YouTube as I stream on Twitch, so come through. And like I said, like the video, subscribe. Comment down below about some cool fighting game terms or funny fighting game slang that you know about that maybe I don't know about. or maybe that I just didn't mention here. And this is Beanie Thuggish signing out. Peace.